Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I had a conversation last week that I have been thinking about every single day since it happened, and it is so deeply connected to what is coming through for you today. So, I have this friend, she has been talking about this one person for months. And every time she brings him up, she does this thing where she catches herself mid sentence and goes, I know, I know. I am probably just being delusional about this. And she would laugh it off. And I would watch her shrink from something she was actually reading correctly because she was scared of looking foolish for believing it. And then last week, she showed me her phone. He had texted. After all that silence, and the first thing he said was exactly what she had been telling me he was feeling for months. And I just looked at her and I said, You were never delusional. You were accurate. You were reading it perfectly the entire time. You just did not trust yourself enough to own it. And that is what this reading is about today. That is the whole energy. Because for so many of you watching this, you have been doing exactly what my friend was doing. Talking yourself out of something you are reading correctly. Calling yourself delusional for picking up on an energy that is absolutely 100% real. And Spirit pulled these cards today specifically to look you in the eye and say you are not Delulu. Not even a little bit. This person is very real. What they feel for you is very real. And the reason they have gone so quiet is not because nothing is there. It is because something very complicated is sitting right on top of everything that is there. Let me get into these cards. The Hermit, they have gone completely within ANDU, ARE, all day ARE thinking about the Hermit, lands first. And the moment this card came out, I felt this very specific kind of solitude around someone in your life. Not peaceful solitude. Not the kind of quiet that feels restful. This is the kind of quiet where someone has pulled back from the world because their inner world has gotten so loud they cannot manage both at the same time. And the loudest thing in that inner world? You. Tell me about this Hermit. What is this person doing in their silence? The Hermit is someone who has retreated. Deliberately, they have stepped back from communication, from reaching out, from showing their hand in any way, and from the outside, it can look like indifference. It can look like they stopped caring. It can look like the connection just faded for them. But that is the complete opposite of what is actually happening. The Hermit retreats inward when something matters too much to risk getting wrong. And you matter too much to this person for them to fumble this. Here is a practical example of exactly how this energy shows up in real life. Think about a man, let us call him Ryan, who has been in your orbit for a while. And Ryan is the kind of person who processes everything internally before he ever brings it outward. He is not someone who talks through his feelings in real time. He sits with things. He turns them over. He examines them from every angle before he decides what to do with them. And the feeling he has developed for you, he has been sitting with it for longer than you probably realize. Turning it over, examining it, trying to figure out what to do with something that feels this significant. From your side, it looks like silence. From his side, it is anything but. He is having entire conversations with you in his head, working through what he would say, how he would say it, what your response might be, what it would mean if he is wrong about how you feel, what it would mean if he is right. The Hermit is a full-time interior operation, and you are the subject of every single session. Virgo energy is very strong here too. And Virgo does not act until they are sure, until they have analyzed the situation from every possible angle and feel like they have some kind of reasonable certainty about the outcome. And certainty about something as unpredictable as feelings for another person is basically impossible to achieve. Which means the Hermit can stay in there for a very long time, waiting for a certainty that is never fully going to arrive. Spirit is saying this silence is not a verdict about you. It is not rejection dressed up as distance. It is someone who cares so much they are scared to move without being sure. And that is important for you to hold on to right now. 8 of Swords, they ARE trapped in their own head. A and D, they put themselves there. 8 of Swords comes through next. And this is such a telling card for this person's current state of mind. The figure in the Eight of Swords is blindfolded and bound, surrounded by swords, but look carefully at this card, and you will notice something important. The ground around their feet is clear. The swords are surrounding them, but not blocking them. The blindfold is on their own eyes. The bindings are loose enough to escape. This is not a prison someone else built. This is a prison this person constructed entirely inside their own mind. Tell me what they are trapping themselves in. What are the swords around them made of? Fear. Specifically, the fear of what happens if they reach out and it goes wrong. The fear of creating a situation they cannot control. The fear of revealing something they have been very carefully keeping hidden and then not being able to take it back. The fear of what other people in their life would think or say or do if they acted on what they actually feel. Every sword in this eight is a different version of that same fear, circling them, keeping them still. Practical example of this, and it is going to land for a lot of you watching. Imagine someone who met you through a social circle or a professional environment, and from almost immediately, they felt something click. Something about your energy, the way you carry yourself, the way you think it got under their skin fast. And they started noticing that they were rearranging their internal calendar around thoughts of you, replaying conversations, looking for reasons to be in situations where they might see you, checking to see if you had posted anything new. And then the mental spiral started. What if I say something and it changes the dynamic of the whole group? What if she does not feel the same way, and now everything is awkward? What if I am misreading this and I look like an idiot? What if I reach out and she has already moved on? What if, and every what if is another sword going into the ground around them. Another reason to stay still. Another justification for the silence. And here is the thing about Eight of Swords energy. The person in it always has more power than they think they do. They can remove the blindfold anytime. They can step between those swords at any moment. Nothing is actually stopping them except the story they are telling themselves about why they cannot move. And Spirit is saying this person is getting very close to the moment where the story stops being convincing enough to keep them still. The High Priestess, they ARE keeping secrets A&D, they think you do not know the High Priestess, slides in behind the Eight of Swords, and she is giving me very specific information about the quality of this person's feelings. Because the High Priestess does not deal in surface level things. She deals in what is held beneath the surface. The sacred interior, the things that do not get spoken because they feel too significant, too vulnerable, too real to hand over to ordinary conversation. What is the High Priestess holding for this person? She is holding the depth of what they feel for you. And it is deeper than they have let on to anyone, including possibly themselves. This is not a casual attraction. This is not a passing interest that they can redirect towards someone else and forget about you. This is something that has taken up real estate in their inner world and is not moving out willingly. The High Priestess is telling me this person is silently, privately, quietly obsessed with you in the most meaningful sense of that word. And they are keeping it secret. Not because they are playing games. The High Priestess does not play games. She holds things sacred. They are keeping it secret because something about what they feel for you feels almost too important to expose to the outside world before they know what to do with it. Like if they say it out loud before they are ready, something will break. Something delicate will be disrupted. So they carry it in silence like something precious. Taurus and Cancer energy is strong here. Taurus because there is a deep, sensory, almost physical quality to what they feel. This is not just mental. This is in their body too. And Cancer because underneath all the guardedness is someone who is actually deeply emotional and deeply feeling, even though they would never let most people see that. Practical example. Think about the person in your life who always seems completely composed around you. Maybe even a little cool, a little removed, like they are observing you from a comfortable professional distance. But you have caught moments, little flickers that were gone before you could fully register them. A look that lasted a half second too long. A response that was slightly too quick. Like they had already been thinking about what you said before you finished saying it. A moment where their composure slipped just slightly and something underneath showed through before they pulled it back. That is the high priestess. That is someone guarding something significant. And Spirit is saying your intuition about those little moments was correct. What you caught in those flickers was real. You were not imagining it, and you were not projecting. You were reading the situation accurately, and what you saw was the edge of something much deeper than what they let the surface show. Ace of Wands, the attraction they feel for you is overwhelming and they cannot shake it. Ace of Wands just came out, and I felt it before I even turned the card over. Because there is this heat to it. This immediate, undeniable, hits you before you can think about it energy. The Ace of Wands is pure desire, pure passion. The very first spark of something that the body and the spirit recognize before the mind has had any say in the matter. And this is exactly what this person experienced with you. Tell me about this attraction. How intense is it? It is intense enough that it is disrupting their ordinary functioning. That is how I would put it. This is not someone who thought about you a little and then moved on with their day. This is someone for whom thoughts of you interrupt other thoughts, who finds themselves distracted by you in moments that have nothing to do with you, who has tried, at various points, to consciously redirect their attention and found that their attention keeps snapping back like a rubber band. Practical example of Ace of Wands attraction and why it is so hard for this person to manage. Say you have a guy who considers himself pretty emotionally controlled. He has been in situations before where he liked someone and he was able to keep it contained, keep it logical, wait and see how things developed without getting consumed by it. He prides himself a little on that, on not being the type to lose his head over anyone. And then he meets you, or already knows you, and something about the combination of who you are, your energy, the specific way you laugh, the way your mind works, something he cannot even fully put into words, just absolutely wrecks that self-concept. He is thinking about you in the middle of meetings, drafting messages to you in his head at 2 a.m. that he never sends, replaying conversations you have had, and analyzing things you said, looking for signals, looking for signs. And he is simultaneously embarrassed by how consumed he is and completely unable to stop it. That is your Ace of Wands. That is the passion this person is sitting with right now. It is not fading. It is not cooling down because time has passed. If anything, the silence and the distance have made it more concentrated because they are not getting any new experiences with you to process. They are just cycling through what they already have. And it is a lot. The Hanged Man, they are deliberately putting themselves on pause. The Hanged Man comes through next, and this card is so accurate for where this person is right now that I actually want to pause and sit with it for a second. The Hanged Man is someone who has made a conscious choice to suspend themselves, to do nothing, to hang in the in-between space rather than move in either direction. And the interesting thing about the Hanged Man is that this is a voluntary suspension. Nobody put them there. They climbed up and hung themselves there because from their current perspective, staying still feels safer than moving. Tell me why this person has chosen to hang themselves in suspension when it comes to you. Pisces energy is strong here. And Pisces can be incredibly gifted at rationalizing inaction as wisdom, at telling themselves that waiting is the spiritually mature thing to do, that the timing is not right yet, that when the moment is right, it will all unfold naturally. And there is something to that. There really is, but it can also be a very beautiful way of avoiding a risk that feels terrifying. This person has convinced themselves that doing nothing is a strategy, that by staying in place, staying silent, not tipping their hand, they are being smart, being patient, avoiding drama, But underneath the story they are telling themselves about why waiting is the right move is a much simpler truth. They are scared, not of you specifically, of what stepping forward and being vulnerable and getting it wrong would cost them. Whether that cost is their pride, a relationship in the existing social structure, a complicated situation they are already in, or something else. Practical example. Think about someone who is at a crossroads, not a dramatic crossroads, but the quiet internal kind. They have feelings developing for you that are now significant enough that doing nothing about them feels like a choice, not just a default. And they have a life with existing structures, commitments, relationships, obligations, and they have not figured out yet how you fit into those structures, or whether the structures need to change to make room. And until they figure that out, the hanged man says they are staying put. Suspended, waiting, spirit is saying, though the hanged man does not hang forever. There is always a moment where the suspension ends, and they either climb down on their own terms or the rope gives way. And for this person, that moment is coming closer than you might think. 5 of Wands, they are. In AN, internal battle, and you are what they are fighting over 5 of. Wands comes through, and I almost laughed when this card came out because this is the card of conflict and struggle and competing forces, and every single one of those competing forces in this person's life right now has something to do with you. They are fighting with themselves about you, their heart versus their head, their desire versus their fear, what they want versus what they think they should do. This is a full internal war, and you are the territory everyone is fighting over. Tell me about this battle. What are the different sides of it? On one side, you have the part of this person that wants to reach out, that has drafted the message in their head 100 times, that gets to a certain point of longing and thinks, enough, I am just going to say something. On the other side, you have the part of them that pulls back every single time, that reminds them of everything that is complicated, that lists all the reasons why now is not the right moment. And in the middle of all of that is the 9 of Cups, clarifying this 5 of Wands. And that is so interesting because the 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment, satisfaction, getting what you want. So even inside the battle, even inside all the conflict and the competing forces, what they want is so clear to them. They want you. That part is not confused. What is confused is the how and the when and the whether this is actually possible, given the realities of their current situation. Practical example of this internal 5 of Wands battle. Imagine someone sitting with their phone in their hand, and this has probably happened multiple times, having your name literally in the search bar or the message thread open. And they sit there, and they think about what to say, and they feel the pull. And then something in them goes, but what about the situation with so-and-so? What about the timing? What about whether this opens something I cannot control? And they close the app, put the phone down, walk away, and then 20 minutes later, pick it back up and do the whole thing again. That is your 5 of Wands. That is the battle happening behind the silence. And Spirit wants you to know the side that wants to reach out is winning more often than the side that does not. The battle is shifting, and not in the direction of continued silence. 6 of Wands, they have been watching your confidence, and it is doing something to them. 6 of Wands slides in here. And this is such a beautiful card in this position because the 6 of Wands is victory energy, recognition energy, the kind of energy that someone carries when they are moving through the world with their head up and their sense of self intact. And this is exactly the energy they have been watching you carry. And it is affecting them. Tell me what watching your confidence is doing to this person. It is making things worse for them in the best possible way. Because every time they see you moving through the world with that 6 of Wands energy clear, self-possessed, not chasing anyone, not shrinking for anyone, it makes the attraction more intense and the fear more acute at the same time. More intense because confident people who are not seeking validation from anyone are magnetic in a way that is very hard to look away from. More acute because someone who moves like that does not wait around forever. and they know it. Capricorn energy here, practical, achievement-oriented, takes a long view. And this person, through that Capricorn lens, has been watching you build and move and operate, and they have assessed you with that practical eye. And what they concluded is this is someone of real quality. This is not someone who will be available indefinitely. This is someone I need to figure out my situation with, because if I wait too long, the window closes. Practical example. Think about the way this person observes you in shared spaces, physical or digital. If you post something, they see it. If you do something well, they hear about it. If you get recognized for something, they know. And each of those moments adds another layer to what they are carrying around about you. Each one makes the attraction a little more specific, a little more defined, a little harder to dismiss as something casual or passing. You have become very real to them. Concrete, someone they can see with specificity rather than just feel in vague terms. And the Six of Wands in your energy is telling them that you are doing just fine without their input, which is both reassuring and terrifying for someone who wants to matter to you. Nine of Wands, they are guarded and their past, is why Nine of Wands comes through, and this is where Spirit starts showing me the underneath of this person. Because everything we have looked at so far has been about what they are doing and why they are staying silent. This card is about what happened to them before you, that is making all of this so much harder than it should be. Tell me what the Nine of Wands is protecting. Someone hurt this person. Not necessarily dramatically, not necessarily in a way the outside world would consider a major event, but something in a past connection did something to their trust that has not fully healed. Maybe they opened up before and it went badly. Maybe they showed their hand to someone who did not handle it carefully. Maybe they loved someone who left in a way that made them feel stupid for having loved them that much. And they decided quietly, internally, without making an announcement about it, that they would never again let themselves be that exposed before they had some kind of guarantee. And of course, there is no guarantee. There is never a guarantee with feelings. But the Nine of Wands person does not know how to move without one anymore. So they build their defenses very high and very carefully. They keep their true feelings hidden behind a lot of composure and a lot of apparent indifference. And they tell themselves this is wisdom. This is self-protection. This is learning from what happened before. Practical example. Think about someone who in their last significant situation gave everything, was completely present, completely available, completely open, and then it ended in a way that left them feeling like all that openness had been used against them somehow. And they look at you now, and they see someone worth being open about, and it terrifies them because they do not know if they can survive getting it wrong again. Not because you would intentionally hurt them, but because the last time they felt this much about someone, it cost them something significant, and their nervous system has not forgotten. Spirit is saying their guardedness is not about you. It is about what was done to them before you. And understanding that does not mean you have to wait indefinitely or manage their healing for them. But it does mean that the wall you might be sensing is not a verdict on your worth. It is scar tissue from something that has nothing to do with you. Queen of Cups, you already know exactly what is going on here. Queen of Cups comes through for you, and this card is so specifically about your intuition in this situation that Spirit almost placed it here as a confirmation rather than new information. Because you already know, do you not? On some level, beneath all the second guessing and the telling yourself, you might be reading too much into things you already know. Tell me what the Queen of Cups is saying about the person watching this reading. You read energy. You have always read energy. It is not something you learned or practiced. It is just how you are wired. You pick up on things that people are not saying. You feel undercurrents that other people completely miss. And in this situation, with this specific person, your intuition has been giving you very clear information from the beginning. You have felt the attraction. You have felt the weight of what they are carrying around about you. You have had moments where you knew, really knew, in your body, not just in your head, that this person feels something significant for you. And then the doubt comes in. Because they have been so quiet. Because they have not done anything that you can point to as concrete proof. Because your logical mind wants evidence that matches what your intuitive mind has already clocked. And in the absence of that concrete evidence, you have started calling yourself delusional, starting questioning your own perceptions, telling yourself you are probably just seeing what you want to see. Cancer energy is strong here, and Cancer feels first and thinks second. The feeling came first, the knowing came first, and then the thinking came along trying to catch up, and could not find enough hard evidence to validate what the feeling had already told you. But Spirit is saying your feeling was right. Your Cancer, Queen of Cups intuition was picking up something real, not imagined, not projected. Real, practical example. Think about the specific moments in your interactions with this person where something passed between you that was unspoken. Maybe a look that went a beat too long. Maybe a moment where you said something and they responded in a way that was just slightly too knowing, too specific, too personal to be casual. Maybe a moment where the energy shifted and you both felt it and neither of you named it, but it absolutely happened. Your Queen of Cups felt all of those moments accurately. Every single one. And none of them were in your head. Temperance, the timing feels off, but something is balancing behind the scenes. Temperance comes through. And this card is doing something very specific in this reading. It is addressing the timing. Because one of the things that makes this situation so hard is that even when you trust that the feelings are real, even when you accept that this person is genuinely stuck and not just uninterested, you are left with this question of when. When does something actually happen here? And Temperance is the card that addresses exactly that. Tell me what Temperance is saying about the timing of this connection. Temperance is not a fast card. It is a card about alchemy, about taking things that are currently incompatible and working them together slowly until something harmonious results. And the message here is that what is happening in this connection right now, all the silence and the stuck energy and the complicated circumstances, is actually a process, not a problem, a process. Things are being worked out at a level you cannot fully see. Adjustments are being made in this person's life, in their thinking, in their circumstances, that are slowly, incrementally moving things in the direction of them being in a position where reaching out becomes possible. Practical example of how temperance plays out in a situation like this. Think about two chemicals that are each perfectly good on their own, but that need specific conditions to combine safely. If you rush the process, force them together before the conditions are right, you get an explosion. If you let the conditions develop naturally, when they come together, it creates something stable and lasting. This connection right now is in the conditions development phase. The alchemy is happening. It is just happening more slowly than you would like. And Temperance also has a message for you personally about how you are holding this. Spirit is saying you do not have to keep your energy locked on this situation while the alchemical process completes. Temperance says you can keep living, keep flowing, keep pouring yourself into your own life, and trust that what is meant to come together will come together. You do not have to stand guard over it. You do not have to keep checking to see if it has happened yet. Balance your energy between hope and forward movement, and let the timing do what timing does. Two of Cups, the emotional bond between you is real, and it is mutual. Two of Cups lands. And this is the card I pull out when I want to just underline the whole reading in gold and hand it to you as evidence. Because the Two of Cups does not show up in a situation where feelings are one-sided. It does not show up where one person is carrying something the other person is not. This is the card of mutual recognition, of two people whose emotional energies are oriented toward each other with the same quality of feeling, even if they are not expressing it in the same way. Tell me what the Two of Cups is confirming about this connection. The love is there. I am just going to say it plainly. The love, or something that is becoming love, something in that territory, is present on both sides of this connection. The emotion is there. The affection is there. The romantic inclination toward each other is mutual. And this is what the Two of Cups is doing in your reading today. It is confirming something your intuition already told you, and that the Eight of Swords and the Hermit and all that silence threaten to make you doubt. You are not wrong. What you felt between you was not fabricated by your wishful thinking. The Two of Cups is showing a genuine mirroring of feeling. They feel it. You feel it. And the connection between those two feelings is real and active even inside all this silence. Practical example. Think about moments in your history with this person where the Two of Cups energy was visible to anyone paying attention, even if neither of you named it. The way conversations with them feel different from conversations with other people. The quality of attention you give each other when you are in the same space. The way something in the atmosphere shifts when it is just the two of you versus a group. Other people have probably noticed it, even if you two have been carefully avoiding naming it yourselves. That noticed by others quality of mutual chemistry is the Two of Cups being visible from the outside. Spirit is saying the bond is real. The question is not whether it is there. The question is only ever whether and when this person is going to get out of the Eight of Swords long enough to act on it. Three of Wands, they are waiting and watching and they have not given up. Three of Wands comes through. And this card makes me want to describe exactly what this person looks like in their waiting, because it is so specific. The figure in the Three of Wands stands with their back to us, facing the horizon, watching ships in the distance. They are not panicking. They are not chaotic. They are patient in a way that feels almost like anticipation. They have sent something out, ships, possibilities, intentions, and they are watching for them to return. And they have not given up on the horizon. They are still looking. Tell me what this person is still holding on to. Hope. They are holding on to the hope that the right moment will come, that something will shift in their situation that makes reaching out feel possible in a way it does not quite feel right now. That you will still be available, still be interested, still carry the same warmth toward them when that moment arrives. They are watching the horizon, and the ships they sent out are the small signals they have put into the universe about how they feel. The glances, the specific attentiveness, the moments where they let something through before pulling it back. They are watching to see if those ships come back with an indication that you received them. Practical example. Think about how this person behaves when they have any window of interaction with you, however small. They are not as casual as they want to appear. There is a quality of attention they give you that is slightly heightened, slightly more focused, slightly more aware than they give other people. And after those interactions, they spend time analyzing what happened, what you said, how you seemed, whether there are signs that you are still open, whether the door is still open. That is Three of Wands watching from the cliff. Still engaged, still hoping, still watching the horizon for the ships to come back. Aquarius energy here with the Fool and that combination is interesting because Aquarius can be extremely unconventional in how they finally make their move. It might not look like what you expect, might not come through the channel you are watching. The breakthrough, when it comes, might catch you slightly off guard because it does not arrive through the obvious door. Death card, something has to end before this can begin. Death card comes through, and I want to be very clear before anyone panics. This is not a prediction of anything terrible. This is a transformation card, a completion card, an ending that is not tragedy but necessity. And in this reading, it is speaking very specifically about what has to conclude in this person's situation before they can fully step toward you. Tell me what needs to end here. What is this death card asking for? Something in this person's life is in a dying phase. It might already be ending, they might just not be fully admitting it yet. A relationship, a situation, a chapter, a version of themselves that they have been holding on to past its natural lifespan. And until that thing completes its ending, until they fully let it die, rather than keeping it on life support, there is no clear path to you. The Death card is not asking for something dramatic. It is asking for something honest. For them to look at what is already over and call it over rather than maintaining the fiction that it is still alive. Practical example, and this is going to be real for a lot of you watching. This person may be in a situation, a relationship, a living arrangement, a complicated entanglement from the past that is technically still ongoing, but emotionally has been over for much longer than the paperwork suggests. And they have been staying in it for reasons that are a combination of obligation, fear of conflict, familiarity, and the not yet arrived courage to just end it cleanly. And you, without even knowing it, have become the thing on the other side of that ending. The reason the ending can no longer be postponed indefinitely, because what they feel for you has made it impossible to keep pretending the current situation is working. Spirit is saying the Death card here is good news for this connection, even if it does not immediately feel that way, because it means something is concluding. The situation that has been blocking the path between this person and the possibility of reaching out to you is in its final phase. And on the other side of that completion is a clearing, a clean space, a moment where reaching out is no longer complicated by whatever has been complicating it. Messages from Spirit. What else needs to come through before I let you go? Spirit has several more things, and I am not closing this reading until they all come through. First, your silence is doing more than you know. I am picking up that the less you chase this person, the less you reach for them, the less you broadcast your need for clarity from them, the more uncomfortable they get with their own inaction. Every day that passes, where you are clearly fine, clearly moving, clearly not collapsed by their silence, is another day that the weight of their own unspoken feelings gets heavier. Your peace is pressure on them, not the bad kind, the kind that eventually makes someone move. Second, for some of you, there is a very specific message coming through about a message, a literal message, something written rather than spoken. Spirit is saying, watch for something written to arrive, a text, a DM, an email, something in written form rather than a call or a face-to-face moment. The breakthrough communication from this person when it comes is likely to be written first, because writing lets them control the words in a way that a real-time conversation does not. And this is a person who needs to feel some control over how they reveal themselves. Third, there are people around this person who do not know about you, who have no idea you exist in their inner world in the way that you do. They have been very careful to keep you compartmentalized away from the external people in their life. And that compartmentalization is not dismissal, it is the opposite. It is protection. What they feel for you is kept separate because it is too important to expose to other people's opinions and commentary before they have figured out what to do with it themselves. Fourth, Spirit is specifically speaking to those of you who have been telling yourself you are crazy for sensing this connection, who have been gaslighting yourself about your own accurate perceptions because the external evidence has been too thin to justify the internal knowing. Spirit says, stop doing that. Stop talking yourself out of what you are reading correctly. Your intuition in this situation has been a better guide than your doubt. Trust the initial read. Trust the Queen of Cups in you that picked this up clearly from the beginning. You are not delusional. You have never been delusional about this. Fifth, the question of whether to reach out yourself is coming up in this reading, and Spirit is being nuanced about it rather than giving a blanket yes or no. For some of you, making a casual low-stakes move, something that does not fully show your hand but opens a door, is what shifts this from stuck to moving. Not chasing, not seeking validation, just creating an opening that removes one of their excuses for staying silent. For others, staying in your own lane and letting this unfold at its own pace is the right call, because the timing genuinely needs more space to develop. Sit with which one applies to your specific situation, because Spirit says you already know which one it is. Sixth, this person thinks about reaching out to you most often at night, late evening into late night. When the day is done and the noise of their regular life goes quiet, and the thing they have been keeping at a manageable distance during daylight hours is suddenly very loud and very close. If you have ever had an inexplicable feeling at a specific time of night, a sense of someone thinking about you, a pull toward your phone, a sudden wave of whatever this connection feels like for you, that is not a coincidence. That is real. Time of day has energy too. Here's what this reading has done for you today, and I want to make sure you receive it fully before you go. It has confirmed what you already knew. Every card that came through today, the Hermit, the Eight of Swords, the High Priestess, the Two of Cups, all of it has been pointing to the same truth. You read the situation correctly from the beginning. The connection you felt was real. The feelings you sensed coming from their direction were real. The sense that something is there, even inside all the silence, was not wishful thinking or self-deception. It was accurate perception. You were never delusional. Not for a single moment. What has been complicated is not the feeling. The feeling is simple and clear and mutual. What has been complicated is everything around the feeling, their situation, their fears, their history, the structures of their current life that are slowly, inevitably rearranging themselves. And that complication is theirs to navigate. It is not evidence that you were wrong about the connection. It is just life being messy around something that is actually quite clean at its core. What I want you to do with this reading is stop apologizing to yourself for knowing what you know. Stop calling yourself delusional for perceiving something real. Stop shrinking your own accurate intuition down to the size of what you can prove with external evidence. Your Queen of Cups knew. Your gut knew. And the cards today have confirmed what your gut already had right. This person is scared, not indifferent scared. There is a massive difference, and I need you to hold on to that difference when the doubt starts creeping back in. Indifferent people do not think about you constantly. Indifferent people do not have internal wars about whether to reach out. Indifferent people do not carry you around in a secret interior space they protect from the outside world. Scared people do all of those things. And this person is doing all of those things. The Death card says something is moving. The Wheel would say the timing is shifting. And the Two of Cups says the foundation is mutual. So give this some room. Give it some breath. Give yourself permission to stop white-knuckling this. And instead, let it unfold, knowing that what you have sensed from the beginning is real and has not gone anywhere. You were never Delulu. You were just right before the evidence caught up. If this hit for you, drop I receive or I claim in the comments below and tell me what landed. Like and subscribe if you want to be here for the next reading. And share this with someone who needs to hear that their gut instinct about someone is probably right. See you next time.